Hello, how are you guys? It is Fabi here. Wait, let me just sit down comfortably. On day 4 of the Breakthrough Brand Challenge, this is the almost final day because I decided to add in a little bonus for you guys. And just as a little quick side note, if you hear music in the background, I don't know if you guys know this, but my husband is a singer, and he's singing something, like he's recording something. I don't know what he's doing. So this is what my life is like. Sometimes with music in the background, sometimes with my baby that I just gave to my mother-in-law who's here right now. So sometimes the baby's around, sometimes my husband's around, sometimes the 4-year-old's around, and that's kind of how I roll around here. But I am super excited to have you guys here today to talk about day 4 of the Breakthrough Brand Challenge. Is all about how you lead. And the way that I see it, there's kind of 2 different things when we look at marketing and when we look at getting in front of people. One of it is your actual marketing strategy, and something else is your actual visibility plan. And for me, the difference is that when I talk about marketing strategy, I'm talking about your actual lead generation strategy. So that's what I mean. It is, what is your actual funnel? What is your lead generation strategy? And then when we talk about visibility plan, it's how you get visible, how you get in front of people, or how you drive traffic into your funnel. So there's a big difference between both of these things. And sometimes one of the biggest mistakes that I see entrepreneurs making is that they think that their visibility plan is the same thing as their marketing strategy. So they're spending all of this time focusing on tactics, not on strategy. And when I mean tactics, I mean things like growing their Instagram, or spending hours on Pinterest, or doing Insta stories, or having a Facebook group, or, like posting on LinkedIn or on YouTube. And they're doing all of these things that are really great for your visibility, but there's not a real thought out strategy behind, okay, how do I take these people from being somebody that's just seeing me, that is a follower, into becoming an actual buyer, an actual person or an actual lead at least, right? Because there's a huge difference between you having a following and having leads or having clients. And sometimes we see people who have, millions of followers online, and then they're not able to monetize that. They don't know how to turn those people into clients. And then we have people that have very, very little followers, like me, who is able to build a successful business. So in my case, I have, let's see how many followers I have on Instagram, 2,000 followers on Instagram, 2,200. So it's not a really big deal, right? However, I've still been able to build a business where I've been able to generate $80,000, $60,000, $40,000, minimum $40,000 a month for the past year, I think, or something like that. But I've been having months where it's even higher. So with only 2,000 and something followers on my Instagram. And so I think it's important for you to understand that there's a big difference between both of these things. It's one thing to have followers or have visibility, and a whole other thing to have an actual marketing strategy that generates leads. And speaking of that, there's also differences when we look at our marketing strategy. There are different ways to communicate to people depending on who they are or what's going on. So that's why I talked about the 3 types of audiences that you need to understand. The people who are I have no clue. And yesterday I was giving an example from my brother. I'm not going to repeat it today. That example would be but basically it's if these people that are I don't have a problem. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever you're doing, it's not for me. I'm just curious and watching out of curiosity, even though they are your ideal audience. They're not your ideal, because if you have to convince them, they're not ideal, but they're the people that have this problem. Then you have an audience who's okay, I know I have a problem, and I'm actively seeking solutions, and I'm actively trying to find out okay, what is the problem? What are the things that I have? What are the things that are going on? And then the third audience are people who are I have a problem and I need to hire Fabi. I need to hire Helen. I need to hire Lily or David or Chelsea. People who are actively looking specifically for you. So what you have to define is, okay, now that I know these 3 types of audience, these 3 types of people that are coming in, how do I nurture all of them in a different way? And ideally what you want is to have like one major marketing strategy, like one thing that is your thing, but then you have other smaller things, not necessarily smaller, but other things that also are adding or building up these other people who aren't quite ready yet or who still don't recognize that they have a problem. Now, your marketing strategy should do a really good job of driving people in and then showing them already, like starting to create the sense of urgency and showing them that they have a problem and showing them all these sorts of things. But sometimes people are just really, really cold audiences, period. And sometimes you have to create things for these sort of people that kind of drive them in a little bit of a slower way. Now, once you've defined what your marketing strategy is, and when you've defined, like created all the different avenues, all the different ways in which people can come to you or get to you or whatever, then you go on and you move on to creating a really solid visibility plan. And when we talk about visibility, there's really 2 ways of doing that. One of them is free and one of them is paid. Pretty simple. Now, within the free way, organic way, however you want to call it, there are many, many sub layers of things that you can do, social media and SEO or blogging and leveraging other people's audiences and building your network or going to networking events. Like there's so many variations of things that you can do in there. And then obviously when we're talking about paid, you have paid ad on Facebook or on Google or on YouTube or wherever you're doing it. So there's a lot of different ways to drive traffic in. And, for me, for example, when I work with my clients, obviously we start with defining, okay, what's the marketing strategy that we're going to use? And side note here, you need to understand what strategy works for you, because not everything works for everybody. Everybody's different. Your audience is different. You're different. There's people who are going to be great at webinars and people who are like, I just don't want to do a webinar. I want to do an email course, or I want to do a quiz, or I want to do this thing or that thing. It really is going to depend on who you are, what you offer, and who your audience is. There's a really, really big difference depending on like kind of where, like what's going on, right? But then once you've defined that, then you move on to the marketing, the organic strategy. And what I was going to say is not organic, but actually, yes, to the visibility plan, to driving people through that. But what I was going to say is that usually before you run into like, let me just do ads and go all in and spend all my money on ads because this is going to clearly work for me, my recommendation, and when I work with my clients, is we need to work on the organic strategy first. Let's look at those things and let's see what's going on. Let's see how people respond before you jump into spending a whole bunch of money on ads. And the reason I say this is totally from experience. When I did my first webinar, which is one of the things that I do, and I've done a lot of different marketing strategies in my business and processes and everything. But when I did my webinar for the first time, I went on to spend $3,000 on ads in that first month, and I got 0 calls or 0 clients, 0 leads, nothing from it. And then I went on, worse than that, I went on to spend even more money the fall, like a few months later, and it still didn't work for me. And obviously it didn't work for me because I hadn't tested my funnel first. I haven't tested my marketing strategy first. So I spent thousands of dollars, wasted them on ads before I went in and did all these other strategies to make sure that it was working. The other thing is that while ads are an absolutely amazing way to grow and to scale your business, obviously you always want to have other things that are going to be like just ways for you to be able to build momentum in different ways that aren't only dependent on ads. So, for the days when Facebook shuts down for some reason, like it happened a few days ago, where whatever, those things that sort of happen, or your ads account gets shut down for some reason, or holiday season, for example, where usually ads are really, really expensive or a little bit harder because everybody's doing ads. So you want to have a backup plan where you're not only dependent on ads in order to get people in, and you're not only dependent on the one thing like the webinar or the video series or the quiz or whatever you're doing. You want to make sure that there's a lot of things going on in your business so that you're driving traffic, you're driving people in a lot of different ways, and you're not depending on just one thing. So what we've seen so far, when we've looked at the pyramid, we're talking now about marketing strategy and visibility and driving traffic and getting people in. But what I want you to understand is that for this, and let me try to do the little drawing for you. I think I need to print this because I always, when I do my Facebook Lives, I always talk about this. Okay, let me try to do it. Here we go. Okay, so here's the pyramid, right? Here, on top over here is visibility. This is marketing. Oh God, I'm not even gonna write because I can't even read that. This is visibility, this is marketing, this is your offer, and this is your foundation. Now, what we want is visibility. Through your visibility, you're driving people into your marketing. Your marketing strategy, you really need to have a great base of what your offer is and how you're positioning yourself, because in whatever you're doing in terms of marketing, you need to make sure that that's included in there, that it's like a clear flow between marketing and your offer and how you're positioning yourself. And yesterday I talked about it in the video, and I'll repeat it again today. There's 3 ways to position yourself. Number 1 is verbally, so how you're communicating. Number 2 is visually, so how your brand looks. And number 3 is through the client experience that you're creating. So when we look at positioning and your signature offer, obviously you want to make sure that your marketing looks incredible, that you're like the way that you're communicating is really, really smart, and that you're, making a good job of showing your value and showing how amazing you are, which connects us back to all of this, to the foundation of your brand. And when I talk about foundation, you know that I'm talking about understanding what makes you different, understanding who your audience is, and really building those connections. So for you to be able to get results on the top of this pyramid, you need to make sure that the bottom part is really, really clearly defined. And this is where people mostly fail. They go either straight into the top right here. Wait, I'm trying to do this and it's upside down. So you're trying to go straight into visibility, buying these programs teaching you how to grow your Instagram or how to grow your YouTube or whatever it is. There's nothing else behind it. So you're like all over the place, or you're doing, okay, I'm going to go into mindset. I'm going to work on marketing. I'm going to do all these things, but you aren't clear on your outcome. You aren't clear on how to position yourself. Your offer is like some offer that you put together watching some little video training that tells you how to do an offer, and that's it, and not really diving deep. You don't know what makes you unique. You don't know how to communicate what makes you unique. You have zero confidence in yourself. You don't understand who your audience really is, so you're not making connections with them. So when all of those things down here are failing, that is the reason why your marketing is failing you as well. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And this is why it's really, really fundamental that you look at your business in a holistic way, where you're not only, okay, let me just do marketing and let me just get money in this way, but you're looking at everything. You're looking at who you are, who your audience is, how to communicate who you are and who your audience is, like how to communicate all these things, how to show your value verbally, visually, and give your clients an experience that makes them be like, wow, like what we're doing right now is really life-changing beyond everything else. Like you're not only giving them value in your content, but you're giving them value in the experience of them working with you, so they also become your top referrers. So all of these things are really, really important for you guys to understand and for you guys to build together. And I'm actually going to be showing you how to implement all of this. I told you guys yesterday, just in case you didn't know, I kind of made a decision that I'm going to show you tomorrow. I'm going to do a video where I'm going to show you how we're going to implement all these things, how this works in the real world. Like, okay, great. I get it. This is interesting. I see the direction. I see how this brand strategy pyramid could work, but I'm actually going to show you how I implement this with my clients. So I'm going to give you a whole case study, and I'm going to walk you through, okay, when we talk about foundation, this is what it looks like. When we talk about this thing, this is what it looks like. And I'm going to show you all of these different examples so that you get a very clear picture of how to implement all of these things as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I can't give it all away, but I'm going to show you a lot of it so that you get a really clear sense of, oh, okay, this is what she's talking about when she mentions this or when she mentions that. So I'm going to get into that in a lot of detail tomorrow too, which I'm really excited about because I've actually not ever done something like this before. So I think it's going to be really interesting for you guys to see it, because it's not a webinar. It's not anything like that. This is something a little bit different. And I think that it's going to be really, really interesting for you guys to see it. But anyways, this whole day 4 of the Breakthrough Brand Challenge, this final day, is really about like, okay, how all of this is building up until this point. So understanding who you are, who your audience is, what you're offering, and how to position yourself. All of those things need to be present in the way that you're marketing yourself, because if you're not having these things present, they're going to do a really, really crappy job of like your marketing isn't going to work, basically. This is my experience. This is the experience of all the clients that I've worked with for so many years. And this is the reason why once we work together and once we go deep in, like really deep into defining each and every one of those layers and really understanding who they are, the results that these people are getting are massive and off the charts and really transforming their businesses. Because I feel like the biggest thing that happens when you look and you build the whole brand strategy pyramid in this sense is that your confidence and your certainty in what you're offering and how you're offering really changes. So the moment that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing for marketing, right? Whether it's a webinar or a video series or a challenge or a quiz or whatever, you have this certainty in yourself that translates in a really powerful way. So your audience starts to like turn around. And you know, it's funny because sometimes we get this notion that, oh my God, like, I don't know where, somebody was saying yesterday, like, I don't know where my audience is. I'm trying to find where my audience is. And, you know, I get who they are, but I'm not sure I know where they are. And it's really funny because what you have to understand is that what has to change is something in you. It's not like, can you hear my husband? It's not like there's this secret room or this secret Facebook group where all the millionaires are hanging out and you haven't been invited, you haven't discovered it yet. And the moment that you discover and you post in there once, you're going to have like this floodgate of millionaires running to you and saying like, oh my God, Ryan, I can't wait to work with you. That's not really how it works. How it works is that when your messaging is so on point, when your certainty is so on point, when your communication, when your uniqueness, when what you offer is so on point, you could share that in the corner. Well, not in the corner, but like you could share that in wherever you're already sharing things, and heads are going to turn suddenly and be like, oh, here she is. This is the person that I've been looking for all along. So it's not that I mean, obviously, let me clear it out. Obviously, there are places where people are going to be, right? Like, certainly you can't expect there to be, like, if you're in a business Facebook group, you can't expect there to be, I don't know, I was going to say something, I don't know, something like I can't even think of anything, whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, there's places to go, right? If you're going to market to a teenager, you're not going to be able to find the teenager on LinkedIn, whatever. Like, I'm just randomly saying something, but you know, obviously there are certain places that you need to go in order to find your audience. However, it's also important that you understand that it's not only about the place where you're marketing, but it's mostly about what you are saying. That is the real difference. So this idea of I can't find the people, I don't know where they are, blah, 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 that's not necessarily the truth. It's really about once you get all these things right in that pyramid, once you have nailed who you are, nailed your audience, nailed how to position yourself, nailed your marketing, and nailed the visibility plan, you're going to find those people. Okay, guys, I have to go because I have a group call in 2 minutes for my group program, and I got to go. I will definitely see you guys tomorrow because I'm going to do that training, but damn, it's going to be so good. I am so excited about giving you guys this training. I think that you guys are going to be blown away by it for sure. It's going to be so freaking good. I have it written over here. This is what I'm going to be talking about. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow, and keep on sharing how you guys lead and how are you committing to leading your audience.